and welcome to Cool Sports Guy, everybody. I'm Tom. Joining me today is Jarrett. How are you today, Jarrett?
Doing pretty good. It is Pro Bowl Sunday that no one cares about, so I didn't even realize it was a thing.
I have now flipped on the TV for that. Maybe a little disrespectful. I'm not sure. Competition's been going all week. I would say the only highlighted part I've noticed was comments from Derek Carr, which made me very happy because
that's all
I like him. And screw the Raiders. Sorry, Jarrett's stepdad, but they're making a mistake. They are making a mistake.
I've bullied him about it for so long, and he thinks they're making a mistake too. He very much likes Derek Carr.
I think the Raiders believe they're making a mistake. I think the only people who want him gone is like Josh McDaniels and maybe the ownership. That's it.
I think they put all of their eggs into one basket of it being we're getting Tom Brady, and they didn't get Tom Brady, and now they're screwed. That's my thought process on it.
Possibly. Well, now they're going to try and get Aaron Rodgers, so good luck. Well, your stepdad can stay a Raiders fan, so that's good.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Fair.
Well, let's talk about teams that actually even made the postseason and now all the way to the Super Bowl. So we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. It's obviously in a week here coming up, but before we start, check us out on our website, coolsportsguy.com, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook. I'll get this out of here. Anything else to add about anybody else that's not going to be relevant this Super Bowl Sunday?
No, I do not believe so.
You think it's gonna be a good team if Rodgers actually go to the Raiders?
No. Listen, I will say I do think Rodgers is insanely talented. Do not get me wrong. And I think he's had a great career. He's debatably the most talented quarterback of all time. But I think he's at that point of his career where I personally wouldn't want him on my team. Just for the fact that every offseason, it seems for like the past 2 or 3 years, he's been like, oh, I might retire, I might not, I don't know. And he like leans towards retirement and comes back. I feel like if I want to trade a bunch of assets, which the Raiders would have to do for a quarterback, I don't want it to be for someone who may retire next offseason. So I would personally stay away from him if I was a GM. But, you know, the Raiders are very much looking like they try to be a win now team, even though they're not built to be a win now team. And it could, bite them in the butt. So we'll see.
But they're also going to be in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and somewhat of a good Russell Wilson now that Sean Payton's there. But
they could just accept being a bad team until those teams kind of die down a little bit, and then then take a shot at it.
Every division has one, right? Anyway, like I said, we're gonna go to our Super Bowl picks. So we'll get that started and we'll get that going. All right. So first things first, let's talk about the quarterbacks. I'll let you take it here. So we have the first Super Bowl featuring 2 African-American QBs. This is what, the 58th Super Bowl?
Dang, are we already at 58? I think we're
something like that. I don't know the exact we're talking about the Super Bowl and we forgot which Super Bowl.
Is it 57? It might be 57. I think it's LVII.
Yeah, you are right. It is 57. Correct. It is exactly 57. Yes.
But
Super Bowl 57. It only took 57 Super Bowls, but here we are. Thoughts? What do you think?
I didn't have, when I put this slide in here, I didn't have a ton to add to it. I just, whenever the Super Bowl matchup was set, it was kind of, I saw it on Twitter where it was brought up, and I thought it was just a cool statistic that it's like if you didn't know, now you know, and it's just a cool little thing to add to it.
Yeah. Same. I didn't really have much to add, but I just, when I saw the slide, I did a little bit of digging, which first of all, it is an exciting thing. And secondly, not trying to get all racial here, but if you look in the past, oftentimes the quarterback position we've seen filled with white quarterbacks more than anything. And it is exciting to see even if you just take the Super Bowl aspect out of it, if you look in the league right now, there's more than 10 teams that are starting black quarterbacks, and I think that's awesome. And now there are some teams we don't know what the future of the QBs look like. The Saints, we don't know which direction they're going to go with as far as if it's going to be Jameis Winston or whatnot. 49ers obviously traded up to get Trey Lance, but I'm not sure if they're going to stick with them or not. What they're going to do, we don't know how long Brock Purdy's going to be out for, but there are some teams, like Kyler, I'm sure when he comes back, it's going to have the Cardinals. Justin Fields, obviously Mahomes, with the Chiefs, Eagles, all these teams. So again, more than 10 teams right now. So it's growing and it's exciting to see. And I'm glad that there's more opportunities out there. I'm excited to see these two play, though. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. That's like,
I definitely think it is. The Eagles definitely have an elite defense, and I'm not taking that away from them. But honestly, the NFL's built defense does not matter. It's gonna be high scoring regardless.
We'll get to that here in a second. All right, so let's see. We got Andy Reid returning. What do you think?
I think this is kind of cool. It's bizarre the paths that these both teams have had since the Eagles fired Andy Reid and the Chiefs hired him. He went to the Super Bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the year, it was 2003, 2004.
Yep.
Against Brady, and they lost.
Yep.
And they didn't really make a Super Bowl run after that. But Andy Reid was obviously still a great coach.
They've been to multiple so Andy Reid led Eagles team has been to multiple championship games. They've only been to one Super Bowl, and that one Super Bowl was against the Patriots, and I believe they lost. Was it 24-21? Something like that was the score.
I was a child.
Yeah, you were. I don't even know if you were born yet.
I was 3 or 4, so.
Yeah, that was. Andy Reid was a good coach. I believe McNabb was their quarterback at the time. But even with Alex Smith, he was fantastic. But it is exciting to see that he's going to now play his old team in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I think he's definitely a better coach than Sirianni is. So.
Oh, I think so too. Andy Reid is debatably the best coach in the NFL. Which I wanted to add. So when he got fired, it was 2011 or 2012, I believe. I get that they hadn't won a Super Bowl with him, but I think he had done well enough and competed enough every single season to, stay deserving of the job of being the head coach in Philly. And I believe as soon as they fired him, they went with Chip Kelly from.
Yeah, that worked out.
Chip Kelly was an interesting coach.
Well, listen, you're talking about an organization that's so unforgiving that they fired their head coach 2 years after they won the Super Bowl.
That is also fair. So, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Philly fans are insane.
And they didn't just win the Super Bowl. That coach won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with a backup quarterback.
Nick Foles is officially the GOAT. Move over Brady.
You gotta stamp. Your GOAT stamp is one of the least effective GOAT stamps in the history of GOAT stamps. You're goating everybody.
It matters if I say GOAT literally or sarcastically. I do use it sarcastically 99% of the time.
Chris Olave is the GOAT. Justin Fields is the GOAT.
Okay, Justin Fields, that's a literal one. Justin Fields is the greatest running quarterback of all time.
I'm pretty sure at one point you said Trevor Lawrence is a GOAT.
I don't think I would, because
actually, I think the only person I've never heard you say is the GOAT is Tom Brady.
I have called Tom Brady the GOAT numerous times, because I think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, greatest NFL player of all time. But I don't think he's the best quarterback of all time, which that's what I have said. But enough ranting about Brady. The one year he's not in the Super Bowl, we don't have to talk about him. But no, Eagles, I don't think they should have fired Reid. And, whenever he got to Kansas City, he had Alex Smith, and they did really well with Alex Smith. Being honest, they did a great job. And then they moved on from Alex Smith to Mahomes, and I think he molded Mahomes into what he is now. I think Mahomes would still be a good quarterback, but hypothetically, if the Bears drafted him, Mahomes would be an average middle of the pack quarterback. I think learning behind Alex Smith and being coached by the genius that is Andy Reid, I think that is one of the big reasons why Mahomes is what he is. But it is also a cool storyline that he's matching up against his former team in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's always awesome. It's always exciting. I will say one thing on a little bit. I don't think Andy Reid's a good coach, especially if he loses this game. I think if he wants to be considered the GOAT coach, he has to win this game.
GOAT coach is so hard to evaluate.
Oh, yeah, no,
it's much harder in my opinion than even players, because it's they have to have talent, but they also should be able to develop talent. So there's a very fine line in the middle you have to.
Yeah. Well, I still think, as bad as it's looking right now, I still think if the main job of the coach is getting players and getting the best out of them, I still think the GOAT coach is Bill Belichick.
Oh no, I agree. I think it's Bill Belichick. I've said that many of times. Just because he's having like a down, couple years.
Yeah.
And we're saying down like he wasn't like a game or two away from the playoffs with an awful team this year. It's kind of like Greg Popovich, the greatest coach in basketball history. It's also fair, but like Popovich and Belichick are like the basketball football equivalents of each other, where they had great eras, and now it's kind of going downhill. But that shouldn't take away from what they've done in the past when they had talent on the roster.
Oh, 100%. Well, I think that's okay. I fully understand these two are not in the same category, but you asked me about Eli Manning a long time ago, and you're like, do you think he's in the Hall of Fame? And I said, well, it shouldn't. What he has done to get into the Hall of Fame should not be taken away because his last few years in the NFL wasn't that great. And that's how I feel. Like, I think Bill Belichick has done enough to prove that he's the GOAT. Like, what he's currently doing shouldn't be counted against him, against what he's done so far. But Andy Reid, look, he has been to Super Bowls with two different organizations. Obviously, he's only won a Super Bowl with one organization. It's a 3-time going to the Super Bowl. And so far, he's 1-1. Or actually, it's his 4th time going to the Super Bowl. I apologize. He's 1-2 so far.
Yes.
He's 1-2 so far. It's not going to be it as much as it shouldn't be. It is going to count against him if he goes 1-3 in the Super Bowl.
I will say, in his defense, against the Buccaneers, his entire offensive line got hurt. I mean, I'm not saying that completely, relinquishes him of all blame or anything like that, but it does matter. There's some.
He also had a hell of a team against the Patriots in 03-04.
That is also fair. Yeah, I think regardless, he's a good coach. I'm not going to get too much into the whole GOAT coach conversation.
Listen, he's top 10. Let's just, or he's top 5.
We'll go with that. We'll say top 5. We'll just keep it at
5.
that.
There's no denying that, and he loves his cheeseburgers, and I'm happy for him about that. I like my cheeseburgers too. Yeah, he's a fun guy. That State Farm commercial is off the charts, and I never thought I will see Andy Reid in a commercial like that, but that just it made me so happy to see him like that.
Andy Reid's now Mr. Hollywood in the commercials and whatnot.
Yeah, listen, he's better than Bill Belichick at the commercial. That Subway commercial was as funny as it was. Andy Reid was funnier. I got to give it to him. He's a GOAT commercial coach. I'll give him that. Well, have you ever seen the Subway commercial?
Yes, the one where he cuts off the dude's sleeves or whatever to have I remember.
I don't know what other coaches are in commercials. I know Sean
McVay is in the.
That's a crap. I don't like it.
Campbell's soup or whatever. Chunky soup. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Yeah, All right. Moving on from Andy Reid. Let's see. Kelsey Bowl. All right. We got the first ever two brothers playing against each other in the Super Bowl. This also has never happened before. Obviously, their mother, Donna Kelsey, can't lose either way. I love the picture of her with the cut up jersey with both of the mixed jersey. It was it looked almost like the Bucks Patriots jersey with the Tom Brady one, where the teams kind of split it in half. What's more impressive? Which Kelsey? I almost said Kelsey or Kelsey, but that's not gonna.
Travis or
Travis.
That's
Jason.
It's Travis. I'm not taking anything from Jason. I think I don't have a list right now off the top of my head, but I think he's debatably, up there for best center in the NFL. Great leader, great player, great team. But Travis Kelce, I think, is debatably the best tight end of all time. Right now, I think I'd still probably have Gronk ahead of him personally, just because of what Gronk can do in the blocking game. But Travis Kelce is insane. And if you say best tight end of all time, I'm not going to debate you that heavily on it.
You can. I'll make the case and say I'll add the asterisk and say best receiving tight end of all time, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that is fair.
But
I know it's easier to be remembered for someone who scores touchdowns. So it kind of is a disadvantage to Jason Kelce, but Travis Kelce is going to be remembered for ever. As whenever people look back on the best tight ends of history,
100%.
They're going to think of Travis Kelce. I think Jason Kelce is also a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
He is.
But just the position he plays, and he didn't stand out as much per se.
It's a
as
lot
an
more
offensive
forgettable
lineman.
of a position.
Only
It
like
just is.
the like best of the best ever even get remembered. Like the Jonathan Ogdens, the Alec Fanekas. It's I'm even having trouble remembering the best
You want to
offensive
talk
lineman of all
about
time.
offensive linemen? You know who was awesome? Bruce Matthews.
That was well before my time.
Yeah, Oilers, baby. The Houston Oilers.
Anthony Munoz. There we go. I know some people from Madden, so there we go.
Bruce Matthews was amazing at what he did. He also lost 5 minutes from me. True story.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Get him to join the pod.
What's that? I know, right? I gotta go knock on his door one day and be like, yo, listen. I understand you want nothing to do with football. You probably don't even realize that Super Bowl's this Sunday, but listen. Let's get you on the pod. Anyway, all right, we're gonna move on from the Kelsey brothers. Yeah, I think Travis Kelsey is gonna be remembered the most. You chose a very confusing picture.
I know. I wanted a picture with both of them, and it worked. But I also want to add, just throwing this out here, I think it's bizarre we never had a Manning versus Manning Super Bowl.
It was so close.
They were like two quarterbacks in their primes for like the same years, and then just never matched up.
Peyton Manning went in 06, Eli Manning went in 07.
Yeah, it was.
Peyton Manning went in 2009, Eli went in 2011, and then Peyton went back in 2013. It almost happened.
Yeah, it's bizarre that because they were again quarterbacks, two of the better quarterbacks in the league, and then they 100%. Were like in their prime the same years and just never matched up.
I would love to see that, man. I would have loved to see that.
I know there was a few times when it was really close and people were hyping it up, and then it just didn't happen.
I mean, like 2000, like the 2000, was it 2007 that the Colts were in the AFC Championship game?
I think they did. They
Who
lost.
The Patriots played that AFC Championship game. I can't remember.
It could have been the Colts.
Probably was. I know 2006 it was, I think, and then the Patriots lost, and they went up against the Bears, and then they beat your Bears.
The Bears should have won that game. God, if we had a quarterback who wasn't, a used car salesman, we would have won that game.
Probably.
That defense was so good. We brought Rex Grossman to a Super Bowl. That's
Devin Hester punt return, opening kickoff was just.
Pointless. There it is.
I know. Right, I mean, it's a great story, but you lost the game. Sad.
Rex Grossman.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to break.
Justin Fields will win us one, so it's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I will say this: we have seen the McCourty brothers play with each other in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because Jason came and joined the Patriots for a few years.
Yeah,
because now he bounced around like Tennessee, Cleveland, and then I think.
Yeah, but they both ended up playing in multiple Super Bowls, I believe. Devin and Jason McCourty. I
wish it was like. Hypothetically, Jason plays center, Travis played like defensive tackle or something, and they would like actually be, like matching up. Yeah. That would be really cool to watch, but that doesn't happen. But a man can dream.
I don't think the Bosa brothers will ever face off each other. 49ers cannot keep their QBs healthy, and
I don't. The 49ers worry me.
And the Chargers don't know how to control a clock when they go up by.
They don't know when to fire a coach when it's necessary, but
yeah, it is what it is. Well, they fired everybody else except the coach, so we'll see what
Kellen Moore in offensive coordinator from Dallas.
I think he's going to be a great help.
I love that hire.
I don't understand why the Cowboys decided to part ways with Kellen Moore. Makes no sense to me.
Scapegoats are always a thing, and Mike McCarthy's calling plays. I am sorry, Cowboys fans. I hyped you up this year. You're gonna be bad if Mike McCarthy's calling your plays next year. Just be warned.
I had the Cowboys going to the NFC Championship game when we did our initial picks, and at least that part would have been right if Dak Prescott knew how to put up more than 12 points on the board.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is
just saying
very bad coach. I'm not gonna lie. He spoiled Aaron Rodgers' prime, but we can move past that.
I mean, hey, you know what? I'll say this: maybe the play that got Kellen Moore fired was that last play where they lined up Zeke as
I don't even know what that was. We don't even talk about that. That wasn't football.
So funny to watch.
I didn't understand what was happening, what the plan was, if there was logic to it, or if they're just like, hey,
do you see this dump truck that's lined up against you? He's just gonna run you over, and the entire world is just gonna watch and laugh.
And it was enjoyable. It was fun.
It was enjoyable. It was.
Kellen Moore wanted to just give us enjoyment before the game ended.
Can you? I mean, forget that. If Zeke gets traded, his last play as a Cowboy was lined up as a center and just getting steamrolled.
They should cut him or do something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the salary is, but get rid of Zeke. That's all I'm saying. But,
yeah. Anyway, we're gonna move on. I'm sorry, we get sidetracked a lot.
We need
Super
Jose
Bowl
to hold
picks.
us in check. We get too ranty.
Super Bowl picks. You know what? Before we even get to the picks we're gonna pick, I think it's worth it to bring forward the teams we had initially in the Super Bowl. So I had the Buccaneers playing against the Bills. Both lost. Both lost bad, I might add. And yeah, so clearly they're not in it. You had the Rams.
I'm gonna leave. I think we should end right now. Technical difficulties. I
do feel better about my pick because you do have the Rams. You did have the Rams.
I had the battle of the
playoffs.
LA Rams, Chargers winning it.
Yeah, but you also had the Rams when we did our postseason Super Bowl picks, when we had our edited ones.
Once
or
we
not
got
the Rams. I'm sorry, the Chargers. You had the Chargers.
I stuck with my gut.
Who were the Chargers playing? The 49ers?
Yes, which I want to preface this. I'm not saving face because it was also wrong, but I did say if I hadn't just been going with what I originally went with, I think I would have picked the 49ers as the eventual winners. Again, isn't any more right. They also lost, but
yeah,
I wanted to stick with the Chargers because it was my original pick, but it was dumb.
Yeah. Well, I went with the Bucks Bengals in the Super Bowl, but the Bengals crapped the bed a little bit there. Didn't work out.
And then Jose, I know his original one was the Broncos,
who we never picked for a single game, by the way.
That was I don't know who his NFC pick was off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think. Was it not the Cowboys? Why do I feel like it was the Cowboys?
It might have been. I feel like it was a bizarre team, just out there.
More bizarre than the Broncos?
Well, the Broncos were very hyped up going into the season, to be fair, and
fair.
He just never picked them. So, and then whenever we redid it, it may have been Green Bay, I think, actually. But whenever we went back and redid it after getting the playoff teams, then he picked the Bills to win it all overall against the I think he picked the 49ers too, if I'm not mistaken.
Possibly.
I feel like that's right. But, we were all very horribly wrong.
None of our picks are in the Super Bowl.
We were all very wrong. That's all you need to know. We're bad at our jobs.
Next year, I'm going to be 100% right.
I'm just saying, last year I called the Super Bowl from the preseason. I predicted it all the way, so
yeah,
I deserve some credit.
Yeah.
I'm only halfway
you got credit last
year.
Your credit doesn't carry you over.
I am halfway bad at my
job. The credit you got last year. I was at 100. I'm at
for
50, the
Super
Bowl,
right.
Who won 4 games, and another team who blew a 27-point lead.
But
it evens out.
Lead.
It evens out.
Yeah,
so,
we're bad at this. We'll just move on.
It is what it is. Listen.
So, bad luck to whoever we pick in our Super Bowl picks.
Good luck, and I think we both picked the same team. We'll see. You're first, right? Okay.
Yes, I did go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was going to say picks. Kansas City Chiefs. Why did I pick them?
Yeah. The Eagles are a better team.
So listen, my logic here, my brain 100% saying, hey, you should pick the Eagles. They're a much better team. They are better at most positions. They have the best defensive line in football, a great linebacking core, a great secondary. They have a great offensive line, a great run game, great receiver core, great tight end.
You're just thinking of all the positions in football and then just adding the word great in front of it.
And am I wrong? No. They're like the most complete team in the entire NFL. I don't know about coaching. Sirianni, he does have, the best team in the league and one of the best teams in the last decade.
Well, the Chiefs are underdogs.
Yes, fair. But Sirianni, I don't know because his team is so good. I don't know if he's actually a good coach or I could be their coach and still win games like this. I don't know. The Chiefs, on the other hand, are better in the most important position, which is quarterback and coaching, which is also very important. My brain tells me Eagles. My gut and my heart tells me to pick the Chiefs.
Well, your heart and your gut tells you to pick Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, pretty much.
Does he have his top 3 receivers out again?
I think Hardman is unlikely to play, but they would still have Juju.
Well, I should say top 2 because his number 1 receiver is or second and third and fourth maybe because his number 1 receiver is Travis Kelce. Well, he's going to be playing.
The only one I know that has been said is probably isn't going to play is Mecole Hardman, who's missed most of the year, so I don't think that's that big of a loss anyways. But I think he'll probably have Juju, Tony, Sky Moore, my offensive rookie of the year pick. Let's go. Maybe he'll actually do something once in this entire season to make me not look so dumb.
I will say Watson did better than Sky Moore did, so I'm happy about that.
He did better than Burks too, because Burks didn't play most of the year. Our offensive rookie of the year picks all garbage. Watson wasn't. I wouldn't say garbage. I would say Watson was an okay pick. Me and Jose's garbage. Our defensive rookie of the year picks, I think, were pretty good though. So I'll leave.
Oh, mine's gonna win.
I don't even. Did you? You had Hutchinson. Did Jose have Hutchinson too?
I don't think so.
No, because I don't think anyone
got away from me.
He may have had Trayvon Walker, I think, the number 1 pick. I had Jaquan Brisker, the Bears safety, who had an amazing season. He's not going to win it though. But
I think it was a solid pick. Win.
Yes, he won't, but he should.
All right.
I think mine was a good pick for Coach of the Year, and he wasn't even a finalist, which is garbage.
Well, I think it's probably gonna be Dayball or what's his name?
Shanahan.
49ers coach Shanahan. Thank you. I don't know why I just forgot his name. I almost said the dude that blew the lead in the Super Bowl.
That's all he's known for is blowing leads, but it'll be Dayball. It's going to be Dayball in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs here. I think the coaching and quarterback's going to make the difference. Mahomes. I hope that everything is pointing against the Chiefs. MVP curse, which Mahomes is going to win MVP. MVP hasn't won the Super Bowl in the same year since Kurt Warner in like the early 2000s.
I think it was the year 2000.
Is that what I think it was?
Yeah, right. He won MVP and then he won the Super Bowl against the Titans. And then they went to the repeated Super Bowl back in 2001. And here comes Brady.
We don't need to talk about Brady. But anyways, so there's the MVP curse. There's the Drake curse, astound world rapper Drake. Whatever, he bets on teams and they lose every time. He bet like $1 million on the Chiefs. Bad. Maybe they cancel out. I don't know. But signs are pointing against them. But
he did. I think he did bet on Argentina though. And they won.
I think he got that one. And I think he got one other one right recently. It may have been basketball. I don't know.
Possibly.
But point being, I'm going with Mahomes. It's the playoff time. I'm trusting the better quarterback. I know that doesn't work 100% of the time, but
let's just hope his offensive linemen make it to the game.
Yeah. Hope they don't get hurt walking to the stadium or something.
Yeah. Well, there was a scare last week with Kelce hurting his back and probably not playing. So
yeah, like in the last day of practice.
Yeah, literally.
Well, Myles Garrett just broke his toe playing flag football, so who knows?
Sad. Okay. All right, moving on to my pick, and I have the same thing. I also have Kansas City winning, and my reasons are exactly the same as yours. Everything, my brain is telling me to pick the Eagles because they have a much better team overall. But the Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and they do some crazy stuff, and they find ways to win games. They probably should not have won last week. Freaking Mahomes got hurt the week before. Probably should not have won that game, but they won it. And they oftentimes find a way to win games. And I think that's why I keep saying I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, because I think the Chiefs have a really good team who's going to continue to provide them with a lot of points. And the only way to keep up and the only way to win is for Andy Reid to go, hey, Patrick, you're off the leash. Go crazy. Make some crazy throws happen. And I think he will. So I really didn't know who to pick. I still, even as we're speaking right now, and I'm saying I'm picking the Chiefs. You ask me tomorrow who's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like honestly, it could flip flop, but I'm sticking with the Chiefs as of now.
The closest I've come. I'm sorry, I was gonna say the closest I've come to not knowing who the heck is gonna win the Super Bowl in recent years was actually when the Chiefs played against the 49ers, because it was the same thing, except for the quarterback position. The 49ers overall was just a way better team, but it was just like, yeah, but they also have Patrick Mahomes, who's gonna win the game. I don't know.
Honestly, every Super Bowl there's a team you kind of lean more towards and root for. I'm kind of happy the last 2 years it hasn't really been that way for me. Last year I was like, I went for the Rams, but if the Bengals win, I'm cool with that too. This year, either way, it's a win for me because hypothetically, Eagles win. Then it proves that running quarterbacks can win Super Bowls. Justin Fields, I think is. I honestly like him more as a passer than I do Hurts, which I know is very bizarre to say, but I'm saying it anyways. And Devontae Smith, the receiver for the Eagles, one of my favorite players in the league. But if the Chiefs win, I want Mahomes to win more Super Bowls, not because I love the Chiefs or I love Mahomes, but I don't want Mahomes to end up being like an Aaron Rodgers where he only gets one Super Bowl and that's the defining part of his entire career.
Well, he already beat Aaron Rodgers. He's been to multiple. He's going to his third Super Bowl now.
I know, but
Rodgers has been to one.
Winning them is what matters and what people remember.
And also, Mahomes didn't have half the good of a defense as Rodgers did.
But also, you look like you were going to say something when I was talking about the Eagles.
I was just going to say that I think I understand his borderline, but I do consider Patrick Mahomes more of a running quarterback. He's definitely not a pocket passer. He could pass from the pocket, but
what I mean by running quarterback is I mean like ones that just like scramble often. I think he does scramble a good amount, but like the true running quarterbacks I would say in the league are like
you're talking about
Fields,
like draw type of quarterbacks, like
Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, that kind of a thing.
Used to be one.
Who?
Cam Newton.
I didn't.
That guy already.
No, I didn't hear what
MVP
you said.
Back in 2015.
I was talking super loud and I talked over you. I remember the jab. I used to cringily do that in high school all the time.
High school?
Yeah, that was my sophomore year. When went to the Super Bowl. 2018.
Oh my god.
Listen. See, this is funny because whenever I talk on the podcast with you, you make me feel like a child. But then whenever I'm at work, everyone makes me feel like I'm like 30 and way older than everyone. It's just funny. It's a nice little
Somebody at my work a few weeks ago thought I was 40 some years old.
Fire them.
I'll consider it. Anyway, so those are our Super Bowl picks. We don't quite. I think Jose is still crunching the numbers to find out his. So I'm sure we'll have a post about that here very soon. Anything else you want to add before we shut it all down? This is the last of the slides, right? Yeah, it is.
It is. Not really. I'm actually really excited. I think this is gonna be a good game. I know we say that every single week for every single game, but genuinely, I feel like there's very little chance this isn't a good game. Yeah. Also, one thing I kind of want to add as my chair is apparently starting to slowly go down. Love this chair. I'm not calling the Eagles frauds, but I will say the Chiefs have definitely overcome a lot more in the playoffs to get to this point. They beat the Jaguars, which Trevor Lawrence was on fire to end the year. Then they beat the Bengals with a banged up Mahomes and Kelsey, and the Bengals were on fire to end the year as well. The Eagles, they had the first round bye, and then they played the Giants, who I don't think the Giants were a very good roster to begin with. And then they move on to the NFC Championship game and play a quarterbackless team.
Yeah.
I'm not calling them frauds, but I'm saying it was a lot easier. So I don't know if they're going to be as fired.
I know. Okay, so
I don't know how to describe what I'm saying.
I'm going to give you an example here, and you're going to call me crazy. I kept calling the Carolina Panthers frauds in 2015.
I didn't because I loved Cam Newton. But
in 2015, when they went into the playoffs, first of all, they played Seattle, who was really good at the time, and I had Seattle winning that game. Seattle went down 31-0 At halftime, that was the score. The score was 31-0 at halftime. When the game ended, it was a 7-point game. And then when they went up against the Cardinals in the NFC Championship game the following week, that's when Carson Palmer decided to have his meltdown and end his career, essentially, and decided to throw like 6 interceptions. I don't know if you remember that. So it was an easy game for them. And it wasn't even like, hey, he's throwing interceptions because they're getting to him too quick. No. He was just sucking it up. He was just throwing interceptions back and forth. And that's kind of how I feel about the Eagles team. Like, yeah, they looked really good at some points, but overall, like in the playoffs, first of all, Giants were just overmatched. That was their first opponent. They beat them twice this year. And then they decided to play. They did beat them twice this year, right? And then they played a QB-less 49ers team. So we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong. They're still a really good team. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I do think you are correct in the sense that the Chiefs overcame a lot more than the Eagles did to get to this game. So I agree. We'll see. As long as both of these teams put up more than 40 points each, I'll be happy.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I think I don't even need it to be high scoring for it to be a good game. I just
real quick before we log off. Final score, give it to me.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Me neither. I just thought of it.
Final score, I picked the Chiefs, and I'm going to go Chiefs 38, Eagles 33.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go 31-27.
Fair.
We'll see. Whoever's closest gets $1 million. Anyway, all right. Well, that's all we have. Enjoy a great Super Bowl. We will obviously have an episode after the Super Bowl, and then we will obviously have a couple of episodes going back to some of our picks. See where we landed.
I don't want to go back to picks.
It's gonna be fun. I love it. I'm kind of happy about some of my picks, so we'll see where we go. Until then, thank you so much for joining in, and we'll see everyone next time. Good night.